ॐ नमो नारायणाय। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम्। Suprabhatam. We all are studying a very beautiful text, Upadeshasar, composed by Sri Ramana Maharshi Maharaj, and verse by verse we are trying to understand and know how it can be applicable in our life. Seekers of the truth should keep it in mind that clarity of the subject is very, very important. Now, for the beginners, what is the clarity? Seekers, when begin the journey, the most important aspect of the journey is action. Most important factor in the journey is action. So, we must understand, if a seeker is doing an action to complete the incompleteness feeling of the mind, then that action is from the standpoint of doership. Note it. Let me repeat. If a person doing an action to complete his or her incompleteness feeling of the mind, then that action is from the attitude of doership. And as a doership becomes more and more, a person is strengthening one's own ego greater and greater. Therefore, clarity is required, that when I do the action, my focus should be on both, as an action as well as the attitude behind the action. So, when the attitude behind the action slowly becomes selfless, then the doership of the action gets automatically dropped. And this principle is to be followed by the seekers of the truth. So in the beginning, this awareness is required that actions should not be done to complete the incompleteness of the mind, to complete the incompleteness feeling of the mind, but it is for the sake of universal controller of the world. Ishvararpitam nechaya kritam chittashodhakam mukti sadhakam. So it is said that such actions which are done for the Almighty Lord, who is a universal controller of the whole world, then those actions purify our mind, and those actions become means for the realization. So we have seen in our last session that how this karma yoga and bhakti yoga takes a sadhaka to the state of complete abidance in the self. So having taken first a karma yoga, then taken a sadhana of bhakti yoga as a japa, then japa is on the 3 levels, that is japa when it is done loudly, 1 level, then it is very silently, 2nd level, and the 3rd top level is absolutely in the mind, which is called as chintanam, and that chintanam is referred as dhyanam also, contemplation. So what is happening now, this level we are taking a support of something as a name and a form. So then Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi ji says, still it is on the level of duality, because the Lord is there and I am here and I am continuously contemplating on the name and the form, or even not in the name of form but also the qualities of the Lord if we focus on the formless aspect of the Lord, but still it remains a duality. Then it is said, let us take first this japa sadhana to the level of ajyadharaya sruta sasamam sarala chintanam viralataf param. Then it is said, how should be the japa? Even in the mind, it should be continuous. This is one aspect. And the second aspect, effortless. When it becomes continuous and then it becomes effortless too, then that is the best quality of japa sadhana. Then it is said, then there is a duality. Then what you have to do? Then you says, you have to understand and contemplate saha aham asmi. So that Lord is not somewhere out, that is my own self. Then that is called as the uttama bhakti, when we have completely merged with that. So there is no now me and that, there is only one and one. Saha aham asmi, that I am alone. Having taken up this sadhana, then what happens? Slowly the mind completely gets an abidance in one's own self. And that actually is the best level of bhakti, where it is said, Rusthale mana swasthata kriya bhakti yoga bo dascha nishchitam. So this happened because of the support of every aspect of the sadhana. And Risthale mana, the mind is not completely abiding in the self, and it has expressed, or it is expressing now, a complete existence principle. It is abiding the existence, abiding in existence principle, and it is now as an existence principle also. Having said this path, now Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji explains us excuse me, the path of Dhyana Yoga. Path of Dhyana Yoga. This Dhyana Yoga is the Ashtanga Yoga. This Ashtanga Yoga is given by Maharshi Patanjali Maharaj. What are the Ashtangas? Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, iti. So, Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. So, these are the 8 aspects of Ashtanga Yoga. Let me just count again. Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. One we are missing. So, let me just check. Yeah, it will come. So, when I remember, I'll let you know what is a missing link between. Having said this, that the Patanjali Maharaj is now explaining, or already Patanjali Maharaj has explained this path for the seekers of Dhyana Yoga. Now, in the first verse of Dhyana Yoga, Ramana Maharshi Ji explains, Vayurodhanat liyate mana jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. Vayurodhanat liyate mana jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. Let us see the word by word meaning. Vayurodhanat liyate manaha. So the focus is on the mind. As we all must understand, mind is a center point of our life. Also, mind is extremely important for the spiritual progress. Unless and until we purify the mind, the spiritual progress cannot happen. Therefore, in spiritual life, one has to take care of the mind to the maximum limit. Okay. It is said, Vayurodhanat liyate mana, by restraining of the pranas. Here pranas mean breath, the vital air, that is called as here pranas. So by restraining of the pranas, that is called as breathing, that is called as vital air, mana liyate, the mind becomes absorbed. Mind becomes absorbed. That means it goes to that steady and a quiet and peaceful level. Jala pakshivat rodha sadhanam. So, an example is given like a bird where we have put the net. So, the bird which is captured by putting a net, rodha sadhanam is means of checking. Of checking what? All the movements of that bird. So, take this example, let us focus on this. When the bird is caught up in the net, it cannot do any function. It cannot fly, it can't move, it just remains there steady. But the capacity of that bird to fly and the capacity to do other actions is not hampered, is not reduced, or it is not destroyed. So, it is just what is that? Temporarily at this moment this bird cannot do any action, and therefore it is said restrained state. Going further now and explaining this concept, in Dhyana Yoga, in Ashtanga Yoga path, the pranas, that is called as vital air, is extremely important means to reach to the mind. So, here when the restraint has been done on this vital air, automatically the prana is getting completely restrained. How is it so? Then it is beautifully explained in the second verse. Before that, let me just explain one more point about the pranas. Pranas means these vital forces, this vital force, they are of different kinds. 5 pranas are there acting in body, and total they are 10. But these 5 pranas are extremely effective in maintaining the whole body and its activity as per our own status, or as per own profession, or as per our own field of actions. First, it is called as prana vayu. So, what is a prana vayu? It is required for the perception of the whole world, as well as this prana vayu brings the oxygen inside and energizes the whole system. Second, apana vayu. Apana vayu, the function of apana vayu is, when the system is working, toxins are created. So, all that toxins which is called as mala, so excretion of all the mala, excretion of all the toxin from the body is the function of apana vayu. Then vyana. So, what is vyana vayu? It is a circulation. That means once blood is there, that blood should be circulated to all the body parts and to the tip of all our body. So, the tip is the finger, there the cells are there, the blood, this blood should go and flow in the whole body system, and that circulation of the blood is maintained by the vyana. Then comes udana. Udana vayu has 2 important functions. One, it gives a very good boost to the thinking capacity. This is first. And second, it is called as the backflow of the action, which is called as when some food we eat and which is not actually digestible or which is not actually suitable for the system, so the system throws it out. So the reverse action which is happening, the food which is coming out as a vomit, that action is done by this Udana Vayu. So like I just sneezed. So this sneezing is also because of Udana Vayu. And then Samana Vayu. Samana Vayu is for the digestion. So the digestion and then assimilation. So the food which we eat is correctly digested in the system and then assimilated, and then the extract is taken, and then that extract is circulated to all the body parts by Vyana Vayu. So these are the important functions of these 5 important pranas, which we name as first Prana Vayu, then Apana Vayu, then Vyana Vayu, then Udana Vayu, then Samana Vayu. So all these pranas are doing a great job in this system called as body, mind and intellect. Now next important aspect, that how by restraining our breath we can control, we can have a control over our own mind. How is it possible? Then Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji explains beautifully. Verse number 12. Chittavayava chitkriya Chittavayava chitkriya Shakhayodvayi Shakti Mulaka Shakhayodvayi Shakti Mulaka. It is said Chitta Vayavaha. There are 2 important parts. Chitta, the mind, Vayavaha, vital airs. So one is mind, one is vital air. We can understand as a vital force. Chit Kriya Yuta. Both of them are endowed with one aspect. What is that aspect? Chit. The mind is endowed with consciousness, and the vital air is endowed with activizing force. So the first, when it is endowed with consciousness, that is the Jnana Shakti, the knowing principle, that is called as knowing power. Then mind gains this power, it knows, and the vital airs, they get Kriya Shakti, through which they get a power for different actions. These are the 2 important powers. They are endowed, this power is these 2 aspects, mind as well as vital airs, they are endowed with one power. So first let us focus on this. Mind knows the object, what it is. So it has this capacity to know. It knows its own feeling. It knows the surrounding, as in whether if it is changing or if someone's sort of attitude is changing, it knows very quickly. Therefore, it has this capacity of knowing. So therefore, it is endowed, because it is endowed with Jnana Shakti. Now this vital air, it is endowed with activizing power called as Kriya Shakti. Therefore, all the action which is happening because of this pranas are at the best level. Therefore, if we do not have the proper sort of levels of these pranas, the proper functioning of these pranas, then our whole system becomes weak, and therefore pranayam is very important technique, which we are going to see in the next verse. Now it is said Shakayodvai. There are two branches. Which branches? One is Jnana Shakti, another is Kriya Shakti. These are the two branches of what? Shakti Mulaka. The root cause of these two powers is one, and which is called as Maya Shakti. So Maya is the cause, and the effect of this Maya are of two types. One is Jnana Shakti and one is Karma Shakti. And that Karma Shakti gives activizing power to all the pranas, and Jnana Shakti gives this power of knowing to the mind. This is how it is beautifully explained. Now another point is, what is pranayama and how it helps in controlling the mind? Understand now. This, both the aspect, both the powers are coming from one cause. So it can be understood like this. There is a tree, and the stem of the tree is very big, and it's one, and then there are branches. Okay. So let me give one example now here. When a big mango tree is seen, but it's very huge and it is on quite at a good height, so you cannot reach there. But there is one branch which is quite at a lower level where your hand can reach. So what we can do? Hold on to that branch which is at our own height and start pulling it towards yourself. Now when you start pulling it towards yourself, that one branch, because this branch is connected to the stem and all other branches are also connected to the stem, the whole tree starts tilting towards you. Then the mangoes which were there on the top branches can be plucked very easily, because with one hand you can hold on to this branch and pull it down and keep it there, and with other hand you pluck the mangoes. This is an example. Similarly, our mind and our pranas are very closely connected, because their cause is one and one alone. So how do we understand? Just see, when the mind is disturbed, then automatically the breath is disturbed. See, one more example we can see. When a child is there and it wants a chocolate, but for some reason daddy and mummy, they are not giving chocolate to the child, because eating more chocolate is not good or healthy for a child. But then child cries very loudly, and then what? This is how is the effect. Because the mind is disturbed now, the desire which was there of eating the chocolate was not fulfilled, and therefore there is a agitation in the mind, and that's why there is a agitation which is, affecting the breathing of that child too. So one must understand again one more time, excuse me, but it's a direct experience how Udana Vayu does our own function. Okay. So what we are now thinking of the example, that how prana and the mind, they are closely connected, and therefore we can able to restrain the mind by controlling our own breath. So it is said now in the verse number 13, लय विनाशने उभयरोधने, लय विनाशने उभयरोधने, लयगतं पुनर्भवति नो मृतं, लयगतं पुनर्भवति नो मृतं. Laya Vinashane. Again there are two things. Laya means completely state of absorption. Vinasha is a state of destruction. So we can refer it as dead. So these are the two important stages. One is complete absorption, one is complete destruction. Ubhayarodhane, by restraining of both the pranas and the mind. These are the two important things can be achieved by restraining the pranas and the mind. But what happens then? Then it says, when we restrain the pranas, and with that restraining of the pranas, the mind completely goes to the state of absorption called as laya sthiti. When you stop restraining your pranas, what happens? Punarbhavati. The mind comes back to its original form and keeps acting in its original way. So this is called as laya sthiti. This we are going to explain more detailed way. Another is na mritam. So that mind which is now completely destroyed by absolute control of the mind, then that mind does not come back again and start working as it was. First, we are going to take up this pranayama aspect, and then Ramana Maharshi ji will take up another aspect in verse number 14. How a mind can reach to a state of destruction, that we are going to take it up later. But now we are going to explain this principle, that how the mind goes to laya sthiti. As we know, we have seen just that pranayama is one of the steps in Ashtanga Yoga. So yama, niyama, then asana. This is this was missing. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayam. These are the four aspects. Pratyahara, dhyana, dharana, samadhi. These are the next four aspects. The first four aspects are quite gross in nature. The next four aspects are subtle in nature. So to reach to the pranayama level, first it says yama and niyama. Yama, what are the yama? So that is called as do. These are the do's. So first is satyam, ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, brahmacharya, aparigraha. First, satyam, truthfulness. Ahimsa, non-violence. Third, asteya, that means non-stealing. Aparigraha, no aggrandizing of the things. That means no more and more, more and more, no greed. That's a important aspect. Brahmacharya, complete celibacy. These are the five aspects, do's, that is called as yama. Now niyama, saucha, santosha, swadhyaya, tapa, ishvara pranidhana. Saucha, cleanliness, inside, outside. Saucha, santosha. Santosha is contentment. Tapa is penance. Swadhyaya is introspection as well as self-study. Ishvara pranidhana completely surrendering all the actions at the feet of the Lord. Now, one who does, or one who develops the capacity of following both yama and niyama, and then practices all different postures of the Ashtanga Yoga, that is called as asana part of the Ashtanga Yoga, and then reaches to the pranayama. So please do not understand that this laya sthiti is so simple. No, it also has a lot of penance required to put this mind into an absolute state of absorption. Now, let me explain pranayama. Three important aspects of pranayama. First aspect, when you throw air outside, what is happening? The air is going out. That is called as rechaka. Then you take the air in, puraka, purak. Then you keep the air inside, then antarkumbhaka. Then you throw the air outside and keep the air outside. There is no air inside now at all, called as bahirkumbhaka. Rechaka, puraka, antarkumbhaka, bahirkumbhaka. That means when the air is completely thrown out, that is rechaka, then taken inside, that is puraka, then kept inside for some seconds, or depending on the capacity of the seeker, then it is again released outside, and then it kept outside, there is no air inside, that is called as bahya kumbhaka. So this is a technique of pranayama. Slowly, slowly, when this technique is mastered, when the technique is mastered, our mind slowly starts becoming absolutely steady, and then it goes into that state where it is absorbed completely and there is no disturbance on the mind level at all. Let me just give this instruction. Whosoever wants to do this pranayama should not learn pranayama just by watching on YouTube or by television or just on any video. Why? Because you will see and you will try to copy it, but there is no instructor in front of you. Nobody knows how you are doing, and you cannot find out your own fault, and therefore such practice where a seeker is doing something with a wrong understanding, with wrong practice which is going on, can harm the body. Therefore, a person who wants to learn pranayama should learn with a complete right instructor who has mastered this technique. So, what we have seen now, this is how this pranayama technique, is helpful in keeping the mind at absorbed level. There are yogis who practice this pranayama technique, who follow this Ashtanga Yoga, and they can take up this mind to that absorbed level which is called as samadhi. But understand, this samadhi is also a state. Samadhi is also a state. What is called as state? As we have already seen, there is called as waking world, waking state, where we interact with the world. It's called as waking stage. Then there is called as dream state, where the body is not interacting with the world around, but the mind is projecting its own impressions on the screen of its own. That's called as dream state. Then there is called as deep sleep state, where the body is at rest, the mind is absolutely at rest, there is no projection, intellect is also not projecting or not acting at all, and that stage is called as the deep sleep state. But understand, all these states are temporary. Why? Because that which has the beginning and that which has the end, it is temporary. Let it be anything. So samadhi also is one of that aspect where a person reaches to that state where the mind is now absorbed completely and remains there for hours together. For some yogis, it is for days together. But punarbhavati, but it is not destroyed. It again comes back to its original form and start acting in its original way. Therefore, this pranayama technique is no doubt helpful, but it does not take you to that ultimate goal of realizing the self. Whereas the other technique which we understand, what is that? Now the second important technique is that technique by which the mind absolutely get destroyed. Swamiji, what is that technique? That technique we will tell you in our next class. But now let us focus on this. Let me just recap for you. Now Ramana Maharshi Ji is explaining this path which is called as Dhyana Yoga. This is a path of Ashtanga Yoga. What are the Ashtangas? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama. 4. Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. Next 4. With this 8 step, this whole path becomes complete. So, here it is said, Vayurodhanat liyate manah jalapakshivat rodha sadhanam. It is a temporary means to restrain, to control our own mind. But Ramana Maharshi Ji gives a very different technique. He says, instead of controlling, restraining, you use this technique called as prana vikshana. What is prana vikshana? Is observation of your own breath. Observation of your own breath. So, once you focus your mind's attention on your breathing, let your breathing be normal. There should not be any force, or there should not be any sort of awkwardness in breathing. Let the breathing be normal, but let us focus on this breathing technique. What happens? The more you focus on the breathing technique, slowly the mind becomes concentrated and goes to one point which is called as absolute focus, which is called as one pointedness of the mind. This can be achieved by just focusing on the breath, called as observation of the breath. It is like becoming a witness to your own breath, but through the mind's attention. So, let us practice now this as we practice every day in our meditation. I'll keep guiding you, you keep following what I am saying. Wherever you are, let us have one posture where you remain steady. Check your posture, check your legs, are they comfortable or not? Just make it sure. then see to it that your waist part is comfortable, your back is straight, your neck is straight, your hands are on both the thighs and comfortably placed there. Now you slowly can close your eyes, check your facial expressions. Let your expressions of the face be pleasant. Let there be no tension on the facial muscles. Feel relaxed. Again, once more, check all the body parts. Hope they are all in a very comfortable level. With this first step, we now shift to the second stage where we focus on our own breathing. The air which is coming inside, we can count it 1, 2, 3. The air which is coming in, just hold on for some second. Let it go out. 3, 2, 1. Let the air be out, and there is no air inside now. So this technique of pranayama, first, when you take the air inside, it is called as puraka. Then you keep the air inside by holding it for some moment. That's called as antarkumbhaka. Release the air out, which is called as rechaka. Keep the air out, hold on it. There is no air inside, which is called as bahirkumbhaka. Slowly, steadily, let us just focus on the breathing and not this rechaka, kumbhaka or puraka part. Just observe your breath. Air is coming inside. 1, 2, 3. It fills up your lungs. It goes smoothly out. 3, 2, 1. Let us do it for 5 times. Focus on your own and repeat this process for 5 times. Air coming inside, filling all your lungs part and going out. Again it is coming in, filling all the vacuum of the lung and then going out. Having done this important step of Dhyana Yoga, let us focus on our own mind and recollect all that important aspect of today's discussion. This path is called as Ashtanga Yoga. It is also called as Dhyana Yoga, where the mind is kept under control by restraining our own vital airs. How is it? It is like capturing a bird by putting a net over it. Because the bird is captured in the net now, it can't move. Similarly, the mind can be kept in absolute absorbed state by restraining our own pranas. Why is it so? Because the mind and prana, they are endowed with one power. Mind is endowed with Jnana Shakti. Vital air is endowed with activizing power, Kriya Shakti. But these two powers are coming from one and one cause, which is called as Maya Shakti. Therefore, when there is one cause and the two powers are coming from the same cause, these two powers are equally related to each other. Therefore, when we restrained one power, which is called as a Prana Shakti, the mind goes into a Laya Avastha. But this Avastha is a temporary one. It can remain for some time. The moment you stop restraining your pranas, it again comes back and start working as its original. But there is a technique by which the mind can get completely destroyed. Observe your own mind, which is now stable, peaceful. Just remain there for some time. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Harihi Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Have gratitude for the Almighty who has given us this beautiful time with this right knowledge. Let us have gratitude to everyone around us who has given their best to reach us where we are today. Om Purnamada पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम।
ॐ नमो